If the bee disappeared off the face of the earth, man would have only 4 years left to live. Albert Einstein. Bees are an integral part of the Earth's ecosystem and are undeniably linked to the continuation of human race. Bees account for a third of every bite that we eat, and foods like apples, strawberries, mangoes, and many more would either not exist or experience the juicy elements of bees' diet. They are a vital part of our agricultural industry, and in a study done by the US government, it stated that bee pollinators account for more than $24 billion contribute more than $24 billion to the United States economy, of which honeybees account for with $15 billion for their vital role in keeping fruits, nuts, and vegetables in our diet. This not only exemplifies the importance of bees, but other pollinators, of which I will discuss later. In a study done by Whole Foods, they showed a supermarket with and without produce pollinated by bees. Without. But pollinators are dying. This isn't a few hives here and there. This is huge losses worldwide, from Europe to the US. Even though many beekeepers are familiar with it, colony collapse disorder is still a mystery to the scientific community. And the best we know is that it might have something to do with pesticides, neonicotinoids in particular, and that there is no one cause, rather multiple. Colony collapse disorder is when the majority of the bee population disappear from the hive, leaving behind a few immature bees, drones, and a queen behind. When the bees leave, we do not find any dead bees; they are just gone. Pesticides are said to affect the nervous system of bees, affecting their ability to navigate their general behavior. This may mean that the insecticides affect the ability to return home, and they may get lost. Activists have been blaming Monsanto, a chemical company specializing in genetically engineered seeds and herbicides. During the Vietnam War, they were one of the major producers of Agent Orange, which not only destroyed 31,000 square kilometers of forest, but also destroyed the crops of the non-combatant peasant population, leaving them starving or malnourished. Those who came into contact or ate food affected by Agent Orange would have horrible genetic defects, and the children were at a much higher risk of cleft palate, neural tube defects, spina bifida, and extra toes and fingers. On Monsanto's website, it admits they're involved in the production of Agent Orange, but tries to shift their blame by stating that Agent Orange was only produced for and used by the government, and that a causal connection linking Agent Orange to chronic diseases in humans has not yet been established. What they are saying is that not only were they not responsible for the effects that Agent Orange had on the Vietnamese population, but also that there was no discernible link between Agent Orange and possible diseases. Monsanto has been blamed time and time again for the decrease in bee numbers because of their GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides. But scientists have stated that there are multiple causes, not simply one. Climate change is being linked to the decline in bees, as it is linked to the decline of many species. As bees maintain a certain temperature in the hive, any alterations to this temperature may result in the hive not performing as well. As bees and other pollinators move to different locations, this symbiotic relationship may be disturbed. Currently, the effect that this will have on bees and their plant counterparts is unknown. Native bees, birds, and bats are all very important pollinators and may be hugely affected by air pollution and habitat loss. Urban development does not seem to have that much of an effect on the commercial honeybee, and studies show that in clean cities they can thrive. I became involved in bees for an organization called Save the Bees Australia, which aims at promoting bee awareness and catching and relocating swarms. When a beehive swarms, it's split into two, and half of the bees leave for another location. These bees do not have much consideration for private property, and most people do not approve of their presence. Save the Bees Australia provides a service where instead of people calling pest control and having the bees exterminated, They are relocated to a safer location where they will not bother anyone. This process involves placing a bee box underneath the swarm and shaking the swarm into the box. The trick is getting the queen in, otherwise the other bees will not follow. This involvement with bees has led me to have a greater understanding of them and their importance as pollinators. The purpose of purely pollination was to design an aesthetically pleasing, biodegradable hive that not only added to the worldwide bee population, but also pollinated crops and flowers in the owner's vicinity. By buying it, you will be supporting a great cause that is not only linked to the continuation of fascinating and diverse species, but also to the survival of both mankind and the many creatures that walk the earth. Since commercial harvesting of the honey may weaken the hive, may put pressure on the bees and weaken the hive, purely pollination really enables the bees to do what they do best, which is pollination, hence the name. I also wanted to link it in with sustainability, so bamboo was an obvious choice for the building material, and it allowed me to minimize the amount of interference to have the natural shape of the hive, unlike conventional hives. I then had purely pollination laser cut into the hive and coated it in an environmentally friendly beeswax sealant, which attracts the bees. This can be reapplied, and once the beehive has outlived its usefulness, it is simply thrown away, degrading into the earth and completing the cycle. The beehive can potentially be equipped with a rope and hung up, enabling it to be protected from ground-based threats. If pollinators were a company, honeybees would be the front of the company. With their ability to produce honey and create geometrically perfect comb, little fuzzy golden bodies, and a hive mind, they are an obvious candidate for this role. But many other pollinators work behind the scenes, some of them far surpassing bees in their pollination methods. This includes, but is not limited to, birds, bats, butterflies, bumblebees, hoverflies, and solitary bees. So the question remains, where's next? As a current model is a prototype, I will use this one to test if the bees will appeal to the hive and if it holds up against the elements. If all goes well, I will make a few more and sell them to some people of whom I can get feedback from. Hopefully, in the future I will continue making and selling these and designing new hives. Some of these new designs are a coconut-based spherical hive of the small stingless tea Udipennus, which you can see here at Queen's School, just in the Parents' Ballet. An observation hive allowing people to marvel at the bees, a hotel-like beehive enabling solitary bees to just live in those little holes, a bat shelter, and a bumblebee hive. I would like to thank everyone who has helped me with my quest, including my friends, my family, and my teachers. I hope you all have a new perspective on bees, their importance as pollinators, and the threats that they face. Thank you.